Hi, today we will solve the first problem in our additional list of Matlab exercises. In this problem, we have to write a function declared as compute_diff_max_min that gets a vector v as input parameter and returns the difference between the maximum and the minimum values of that vector. To compute to write this function, we have to use the statements for and if. To check our function, we can use the following vector, and we realize that in this vector, the minimum value is 21.1, the maximum value is 23.3, so the difference between them is 2.2. Okay, so to solve the problem, let's start our Matlab session. First of all, we have to set our working directory. So in this particular case, I will create a vector called problem1, and I will select this, this folder as the working directory. What I suggest is to create a new script and start by writing the function itself. So the first sentence must be the declaration of the function that always is the statement, the Matlab statement function, okay, followed by the declaration. In this particular case, the name of the function, the input parameter between parentheses, and the output parameter in the left-hand side of the equals statement. Okay, so what I suggest is to start by assigning the maximum values, the initial value for the maximum value and the minimum value. Then what we will do is to loop over the components of the vector and finally compute the difference that must be stored in a variable called diff as the max value minus the mean value. That's the structure of our function. So now the problem is which should be the initial value of max value and mean value. And what I will do is to set these values as the first component of the vector. Okay, so sorry, that should be v. Okay, once we have the initial values of max value and mean value, what we will do is to loop on the remaining components of the vector. That is, we will loop from the second component until the last component. And the problem is, which is the last component? So before doing that, we have to compute the length of the vector. That will be n equal length of v. This is a built-in function, Matlab function. And once we get these values, sorry, I write here two symbols and I have to delete one of them. Then what we will do is just check if the current value of v is bigger or smaller than the maximum value or the minimum value. That's it. What we will check is if v of I is bigger than max value, we will update max value. And if v of I is smaller than mean value, then we will update mean value. So our functions look like this. We get the input parameter v, input vector. We set the initial values of mean value and mean value as the first component of that vector. We compute the length of the vector, and then we loop on the remaining components of the vector. So from I equals 2 until n. And for each component, for each v of I, we check if it is bigger than the max value. If it is, then we update the current value of max value, and then we check if b of I is smaller than mean value. If it is smaller, then we update the mean value. I forgot the semicolon here. And that's all. At the end of the loop, we compute the difference as max value minus mean value. So we will save this function, and Matlab sets the name of the file as the name of the function. We already know that. And we have to write the main script. So we create a new Matlab script. The first two sentences, as always, will be clear and CLC to clear the workspace and the command window. Then we will create the vector values. I copy them, Command C in a Mac machine, Control C in a Windows machine, and Command V or Control V depending on your operating system. And then we will call the function. So we will say difference. We'll create a new variable called difference equals to the name of the function. So the name of the function is compute diff max mean. And then the input parameter will be values. Okay, so we write here values. So that's all. Let's try to run our code. So first we will save it. The name I will use problem 1. I save it and then I run it. And here is the values of the vector, and the difference is to the 2 that corresponds the difference between the maximum value 23.3 and the minimum value 21.1. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much for your attention and see you soon. Bye bye.